Good morning, dear Harvest LA family. This is Pastor Jackie, and today is Monday, November 23rd, 2020. Today's passage is from Daniel 4, 1-18. King Nebuchadnezzar, to the nations and peoples of every language who live in all the earth, may you prosper greatly. It is my pleasure to tell you about the miraculous signs and wonders that the Most High God has performed for me. How great are his signs, how mighty his wonders. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom. His dominion endures from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at home in my palace, contented and prosperous. I had a dream that made me afraid. As I was lying in bed, the images and visions that passed through my mind terrified me. So I commanded that all the wise men of Babylon be brought before me and interpret the dream for me. When the magicians, enchanters, astrologers, and diviners came, I told them the dream, but they could not interpret it for me. Finally, Daniel came into my presence and I told him the dream. He is called Belteshazzar, after the name of my God, and the spirit of the holy gods is in him. I said, Belteshazzar, chief of the magicians, I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no mystery is too difficult for you. Here is my dream. Interpret it for me. These are the visions I saw while lying in bed. I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its top touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, its fruit abundant, and on it was food for all. Under it, the wild animals found shelter, and the birds lived in its branches. From it, every creature was fed. In the visions I saw while lying in bed, I looked, and there before me was a Holy One, a messenger, coming down from heaven. He called in a loud voice, Cut down the tree, and trim off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it and the birds from its branches, but let the stump and its roots, bound with iron and bronze, remain in the ground, in the grass of the field. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven, and let him live with the animals among the plants of the earth. Let his mind be changed from that of a man, and let him be given the mind of an animal, till 7 times pass by for him. The decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth, and gives them to anyone he wishes, and sets over them the lowliest of people. This is the dream that I, King Nebuchadnezzar, had. Now, Belteshazzar, tell me what it means, for none of the wise men in my kingdom can interpret it for me. But you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Today's passage consists of 3 parts. Verse 1-3, King Nebuchadnezzar praised the Lord as the Most High God for the miraculous signs and wonders performed before him. Verse 4-7 is about another dream he had, and no one could interpret it for him. So in verse 8-18, King Nebuchadnezzar told Daniel about his dream and wanted him to interpret it, because the king knew that the Spirit of God is with Daniel. I like to look into this passage with 2 significant messages. The first message is that we ought to deal with our pride, and the second one is God is sovereign. Even though at the beginning of this passage, King Nebuchadnezzar praised the Lord, it was not from the bottom of his heart, but more because he was amazed to see Daniel's 3 friends were untouched by the flames, even when they were thrown into the fire. If you didn't get to read chapter 3 over the weekend, Daniel's friends refused to worship the image of King Nebuchadnezzar, so they were punished and thrown into a blazing furnace. But because of the protection of the Lord, they were kept safe in the fire. Nebuchadnezzar praised the Lord for this sign and wonder, but he was just a prideful and arrogant king. It reflected in his dream of this enormous tree that is the image of himself being the center of the world with all the power and strength and could even touch the sky. I personally have been dealing with my own pride as well. In the past few months, I truly thought I was right on many things that I spoke for, in church, in ministries, in my family. It was so costly, but I was humbled to see God's own heart while experiencing the loss of my baby daughter. Maybe I was right, but I had to deal with my pride. And God is sovereign. This is the word of the messenger, the angel of God. The Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes and sets over them the lowliest of people. God does not necessarily use the most talented or intelligent people to accomplish his missions. God can also use the lowliest of people if he wishes. Some people might not be good and capable leaders in our eyes, but God has put them in those positions to lead and serve. And after all, God is still sovereign. No matter they did great jobs or messed up, God is still in control. We are to follow and obey even though there can be things that we don't agree or we don't feel right or reasonable. As long as it works, maybe it is the way we are supposed to do things for now. Or when God himself corrects me or those people, we will all be humbled and see our own flaws and stubbornness. God is sovereign, and we are to complete our missions and purposes to make disciples who can serve and make more disciples by how we live our lives. May God bless us in this season of Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful family time with your loved ones. Do remember to get your protective gears and social distancing when you visit friends and family. See you next time. Bye-bye.